Shaolin Kung Fu to survive must now be taught to more young men.
Welcome once again to another episode of Flixx and Flixx, the podcast about martial arts, movies, and life. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me this week, my guest host, Jeff Doss. What's up, Jeff?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, man. If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we're members of the Martial Arts Internet Network. On hiatus is Raw with Mimi and Lump. They're on Mondays, Tuesdays, CTE, Chris, Carlos, Travis Experience. Wednesdays, it's Flixx and Flixx with Gene and Mike. And Thursdays, you can get the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. Also, I don't know what's up with our main game podcast. That'll be coming back pretty soon. That's also on Thursday nights on Facebook. For more information, you can check us out on all of our social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Jeff, it's showtime. What's up, man?
Yes, sir. What's up, man? You doing all right?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Are you all right?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, just trying to figure some things out. Been a busy, crazy couple of days. So
yeah,
but,
okay.
You know, other than that, everything's good.
That's good. Did you teach tonight?
Yeah, I did. I taught tonight. I taught virtual stuff. And then also had students teaching at the school as well. So I had a little bit of everything going on, but and then tons of private lessons tomorrow. So
okay,
yeah.
What's your setup been like, man? As far as teach, do you teach 6 days a week or 7 days a week, or what's up?
I teach 5 days a week. So not Saturdays yet. We have some fitness classes and stuff. I'm probably going to start adding some kickboxing classes and some other things going on. This morning we brought back a class called Baby Ninjas. So we have actually 18-month to 3-year-olds.
What?
Yeah, I know. So we have them and their parents doing the class together. So we did that this morning at 10 a.m. And so we limited to 10 people. So we were right at the limit. So we sold out that one. So we just did it as a 6-week course. And then, so that way they're just learning how to move, coordination, and really their parents are getting a workout too the whole time.
Of course.
Because they're demonstrating and chasing them. And it's a little bit different. I did it a few years ago when my nephew was growing up, and we did it for about a year or two. And it's a lot different with COVID, trying to keep everybody at their dots and stuff and everything like that, and do it with masks. And so, but it was a good experience and it worked out well. So yeah, that's what we did today.
Man, you got to have a lot of patience to deal with because right now I got my youngest students are 4.
Right.
And they definitely push your patience level. So 18 months to 3-year-old, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm tapping out. I wouldn't be able to do that. I can't.
Well, and it's a lot too. It's a lot of, you gotta have the parents help, but also some of them are thinking, oh, they're messing up or they're not doing good, and you just gotta be like, listen, like every kid acts differently in this situation. Mm-hmm. So you just, I'll be patient. You gotta be just as patient. So
I got you.
Yeah. So it's tough. As far as the other classes, yeah, we're still doing virtual while I'm teaching all the students that are there. So right now I think we're one of the only schools still kind of sticking to the 10 feet apart rule. So we are maxed out about 18 people in class. And then we have about 5 to 7 that are doing it virtually while they're at home. So I have myself and then 1 or 2 assistants helping me with the people there, but then also kind of checking on the ones that are, at home.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How's the virtual classes going for you? So I'm doing that also.
Yeah. So at first they were really good. It got really hard as it kept going and going. Kind of the numbers kind of went down. Tonight, as we had some things going on, I had more kind of have to do it. They did well. I think it's just always like the parents just feel, oh, they're not doing as good on virtual as they would in person. And so there's always that excuse. And for me, it's like, yeah, but this is what we're dealing with right now. So encourage them and don't just keep saying, yeah, I can't, the more you bring it up that they're not doing as good there, then you're just going to make them quit and not even get to come back when you're able to,
Right.
So
the way I have my classes set up, as of right now, I'm teaching 4 days a week right now. I teach on Mondays and Thursdays are my virtual days.
Okay.
So Mondays I have beginners and I have white belts virtual. Thursdays I have my advanced students and my novice students.
Right.
And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays I'm teaching in person.
Okay.
So that's why now when you do your virtual class, you're doing your virtual classes at the same time your normal classes are running, right?
Right. So it's almost made to like, say if they're running late or they're just like, all right, we just can't make it. They can always get on Zoom and do it. So it makes it easy that way. The hard part is, especially now with Zoom's new protocol, like in the morning when we do day classes, I'm the only one there, right? Because we have about just 8 to 10 that do that class. But I'll turn it on and I'll have to enable the waiting room now. So I have to physically run over while class is going on and turn it on, stuff like that. It just makes it a little bit hard, especially if there's only one person. But I don't right now. I mean, I thought about going to just, okay, this is the only time we're going to offer virtual these 2 classes because I know I have enough staff and it's when everyone's been doing it, I mean, I've had several classes where I have it up and no one pops in. But I mean, I could, hey, Mom Walker, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
So, I mean, we can, I think it makes it to where the way I've used it is it's an extra like plug that our school offers, right? So, hey, guess what? You can do an extra class at home now instead of driving out here if you want to, Yeah. So I mean, I have some that do that. They do their 2 to 3 classes here, and then they'll do virtual as well, just to get the extra in. And I'm fine with that. They're wanting to do it. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to do that also is offer the virtual class at the same time I have my in-person class. But right now I don't have
like any help, right?
Well, not just that. Well, I have to get up to, I teach, I don't have my own building. I'm teaching inside of a community house, right?
Right. Okay.
A community center.
Okay.
And I normally have to get there at 4:30 to lay all the mats down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And not only that, so it takes about an hour, anywhere from an hour and a half to maybe an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half to lay the mats down.
Correct.
So then on top of that, I would need to set up the camera, the lights. And we don't have internet on that part of the building that I'm teaching at. There's no internet.
Got it.
So then I would have to get on one of those hotspots.
Yeah.
The thing is about that, I don't even know how well the hotspot is even going to work in that building. Because my phone doesn't work too well in that building. So I'm going to have to get hopefully a Verizon hotspot will work. But still, I don't know, man. I'm thinking that's going to be a problem because I have to pay attention to the kids that's in the class with me. And then also pay attention to that computer. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to pull that off.
And it's hard doing it to the computer because the small, so like I have it plugged up to a big screen TV to kind of help me a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult. And, but the biggest thing is if we try, like, I think you're going to add more value to your program and just a little bit of extra convenience because for them to, now I don't think we need to be adding all these other classes because one person can't make it. But if they're, at home and it's just a Zoom link, it's not too bad,
Right,
so,
right.
I can't. Yeah,
so we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. You lost me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, hold on.
And I am most definitely on my Ethernet cable.
Now?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
I never stopped hearing you.
All right.
So it's not my fault this time.
No, it was me. Oh man,
all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this movie a little bit. So, Enter the Dragon. Mike picked this movie, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I don't want to go scene by scene with it. I just want to give a quick little summary about the movie.
It's a classic, man.
It is, and this is the Bruce Lee that I always remembered. When me and Mike reviewed Way of the Dragon, and that was like a comedy, and he was acting goofy. That was not the Bruce Lee that I knew.
Correct.
You know.
Correct. Yeah.
But I like this movie.
After that show, I didn't even want to a little bit of me wanted to go back and watch it. Then I was kind of like, no, I can't do that. That
was the one of the dumbest movies I ever saw, and it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, me and Trav used to watch this movie all the time when we were kids, and I hadn't seen this movie since I was a little kid. So in 85, 86, 87, around that time was the last time I seen this movie.
Wow. Okay.
So when I saw the movie, a lot of things made sense to me now as an adult watching it as opposed to a kid. The only thing I remembered when I saw this movie were the fight scenes. I remembered every fight scene. I've seen it before. Yeah. But the story of the movie, I did not know anything. Remember? No, not at all. Not at all.
So growing up, I had recorded this on TV when it came on TV, and part of it was on one tape and part of it was on another tape.
Oh wow! so you got it at the end when you recorded on the VHS. You got it at the end of that. And then
I had to switch and go and do it. Yeah. So I just always remember that. And I remember for a while, I would watch part of it. I've seen part of it more than the other part. It was kind of funny, but yeah. So yeah, it's fun.
So this movie, it starts off Bruce Lee. Of course, it looks like he's in Hong Kong or somewhere, and I don't know why. I mean, the British government. Well, at this time, Hong Kong must have been under the British control. Okay,
yeah. I don't think that until the late '90s or something was when that stopped. I think. Okay. I mean, pretty recent. So. Okay. Yep.
So they come to him, Bruce Lee. His name is Lee in the movie, and they want him to go to this tournament. I don't even think I have it where the tournament was, but they wanted him to compete in this tournament. Not really. The reason they wanted him to go because they wanted him to kind of give them some intel about the guy who ran the tournament. His name was
He'd be a spy.
Yeah, so that's basically. Yeah. So I was thinking the first thing I thought was, why would they just grab a regular civilian who was not any type of agent, and send him into harm's way to figure out if this guy was if this tournament was some type of drug front or prostitution ring?
Correct.
You know, that seemed weird.
That was weird. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing was they wanted someone who was legit or that they knew already had an invite or something, you know?
Yeah.
And they looked at who they could trust. That's the only thing I could think of. And he also had motive too.
Yeah.
Which we found out.
Yeah, we found that out. We didn't know that at first.
Yeah.
And well, we might want to get to that. We find out that his sister, Bruce Lee's sister, she kills herself, but
right.
She kills herself, but they're blaming Han men for it because I guess they were attempting to rape her. Or kidnap her. We really couldn't tell what was going on right there.
Yeah, they attacked her or chasing her, and then it got to where she was surrounded. And she,
and she decided to kill herself. She just took some glass and stuck it inside of her, and that's the end of her.
Yeah.
And Lee finds out because there's a man who was telling. Was that his dad that was telling him that story about what happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was his dad or his uncle.
Yeah, someone
like that, but I know that was his. I mean, that was his teacher, though, right?
I guess.
I think so, and that was why he was telling, "Hey, before you go, this is what happened, with those people, or when we went." I don't really know all that, These stories, they leave a lot of little details out. A lot of times.
And that's another thing that I noticed about this movie. This movie ended like so many other movies Mike and I have watched, where it just ends. It does not wrap up. It doesn't go back and do a recap or anything.
No.
The movie just ends, and that happens in this movie also.
I think that happens in every Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah, well, that also happened in Way to Dragon. That also happened in that Jackie Chan movie, that me and Mike watched also, Rumble in the Bronx. It just ended.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Now Bruce Lee goes over. He decides now this tournament is held once every 3 years.
Right. Yeah. It's some secret island, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess this guy Han, he sends out invitations to a bunch of different martial artists, and they come to Hong Kong to participate in this tournament, or some type of island, or somewhere secluded.
Yeah.
I know they ended up catching a boat. I remember that scene where they were all in a boat.
Yeah.
Riding a boat. Now there are a couple other guys there. John Saxon is in the movie, and Jim Kelly. Their names are, I think, Roper and Williams.
Yeah. Roper and Williams. Roper's like a James Bond type character, I think, in some ways, but he seems like it. I mean, as growing up, I'm like, oh yeah, they're kind of modeling him after James Bond in some ways.
No, see, it's funny you say that, because that's not the character he was in the movie, though. I thought that also when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
But now he was like a gambler.
Yeah, exactly. He was a rich guy, gambler.
Yeah, and
he just kind of
Yeah, and he ran away. I guess he owed some guys some money, and he decided to join the tournament to get away from these guys. And then he runs into Williams. Now we find out him and Williams, they're old army buddies.
Yeah.
In the movie, so they're close with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when they meet Lee, but they don't really. He doesn't become part of their clique. They don't really hang out with Lee.
No, they just kind of respect him.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. They don't really know who to trust in this whole thing. They know something's kind of shady, and they also think eventually they're all going to have to fight each other.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought there was going to be a lot more tournament fighting in the movie, but it wasn't.
No,
it really wasn't. It might have been, a handful of scenes for the tournament. Because when they would do the tournament, they would at least what they would show to us is maybe 1 or 2 fights per day, and then that was it. Yeah, that was all they were showing.
Correct.
But I mean, it was. Like I said, I liked it. I remember watching this movie as a kid, and it was pretty cool. I did not understand why he ran away and went to the tournament.
I don't remember that either. Didn't he beat up some cops or something?
Yes, he did. Yeah, that didn't make any sense. He was walking down an alley or something.
Right.
And I mean, and then the police came up on him. I mean, it's like I was sitting there thinking, like, okay, this is the same thing that happens now, and he was kind of getting harassed.
Right.
And then he just attacks the cops.
Right.
He attacks them, beats them up, jumps in the squad car, and pulls off.
Right. And then that was it.
That was
it. Go. Yeah. I think they were trying to give you a little quick thing, about it. Didn't really dive into it too much.
Right.
I don't know. For me, I just remember what he had, like the karate school and all of that as a kid. I mean, I'll always remember that. Yeah, this part.
This part right here. So the cops pull up on him, and they're talking to him, and they're harassing him, and then he just beats these guys up. I mean, this is not going to end well for me. If this happens, this is not going to end well for me. I don't. He would not be able to get away.
No, this guy looks familiar to me too. He's been in a lot of movies too. That guy.
Yeah. I don't know him. I don't know him.
Boom, and he just kind of
right. Gets into a fighting stance.
Yeah.
Beats these guys up.
Ridge hand. Oh, throws him into the trash can. Oh, and the dog starts ripping at the police officer and
jumps in the car and pulls off. And that's the end of him. Next time we see him, he's on the boat going
he must have just went straight to the boat with that.
Hell yeah. I mean,
don't you think that'd be a little suspicious? I mean, he probably had to fly somewhere.
He had to. Yeah. Exactly. So he pulls up in the airport in a police car,
And just leaves it there too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no type of GPS tracking on the police cars. Okay, all right.
Oh,
no type of tracking at all. Okay,
right.
so those three guys are pretty much supposedly are somewhat heroes or whatever in the movie. At least that's what I always thought when I was watching the movie. So, but like I said, man, they go over to the tournament, and you know, Saxon, I think his name is Roper. He is gambling on the fights also.
Yeah.
And he's making money.
He's making money the whole time.
Yeah. And actually him and Williams are working together, and that actually kind of they're setting these guys up because Roper made some money when Williams was fighting, and then when Roper went up to have this fight, he pretended to let the guy beat him up just so Williams could get the price, so the guy could bet more money that Roper was going to lose, and then he came back and then won his fight.
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember that growing up, and the last time I watched it, same thing. Yeah, it's funny, man. How that was. Yeah, I mean that it was cool for me just to kind of, because especially when you're a kid watching it, you're like, okay, these guys are like real buddies, you know what I mean? And,
right.
And so it was a good way to show their bond or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah.
This is the part right here. So he ends up talking to the guy that's behind him, and Roper's getting beat up throughout the this little part here. Yeah. And they're trying to hustle this guy. He's not really going for it, as you can see. No. And they're trying to make sure that he gets the money up even higher so they can make more money off this guy. And Roper's gonna take a couple of hits here.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is just okay. He's not fighting the other guy.
No, yeah. So he's looking back. He's looking back. But now the guy wants to do it, and he's saying no. So they're playing the guy. So he's looking surprised, like, man, because he knows that if he does it one more time, they'll be able to get even more money, out of this guy,
You gotta take some more hits.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a nice little hustle. When he sees this next move, the guy's he's gonna be like, come on, let's go. See,
I love the whole starting with your hands crossed thing, man. That we definitely don't do that anymore.
No. Everybody's like 6 feet away.
Yeah.
And bouncing. 6 feet away, bouncing. Yeah. Hands are down.
Oh man.
So
I like the like the way the scene, the whole thing is. And he just jacks him up.
Yeah.
Like the scenery, you know what I mean? Like the scenery of this movie, I think to me is something I'll never forget. Like the way the tournament was set up, the way the island was. You know, I think it was a cool thing that just showed like Hong Kong. It showed, just the film of it to me was something way ahead of its time. Mm-hmm. The way, like the production part. Mm-hmm. I mean, even now, compared to now, all right, it's not good, very produced, but just the backgrounds and everything, and just how intricate they got to details. You didn't really see that in a lot of Asian movies or kung fu movies back then. Mm-hmm. It was just like a random place, and they just did the whole movie in the same spot. So
is that the kind of feel that that Karate League is trying to give people?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do.
What's the name of that league again?
Karate Combat.
Okay, Karate Combat. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have they're doing some different stuff, man. I mean, they have like some like medieval type thing, and then they'll have like in the pyramids and stuff. But it seems pretty cool. We'll see how it goes.
Are they even on TV, or is that strictly an internet thing?
I think it's a strictly internet thing right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's get back to this movie now. What I really understood was I really understood why so many people were hype in the Last Dragon movie when they saw Bruce Lee fight the guy that he was fighting. What was that guy's name? Let me look him up.
Bob Wall on that one?
The guy that that Bruce Lee blamed, O'Hara. Okay, thanks, Trav.
Yeah. O'Hara. Yeah.
I understand now, because when I was watching that, I said, "Oh, this is the guy that has something to do with his sister being killed." Yeah. So now I understood why the people in the Last Dragon movie, they were so excited when they saw this part of the movie, because they were watching that when Shonuff came in. This is what they were watching.
Yeah.
This is what they were watching.
Yeah.
So now I understood why they were so excited and hyped to see Bruce Lee, fight this guy.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and that's Bob Wall is the actor in that. And so he was another karate fighter all these years. So
yeah,
and that's Han.
Yeah, that's Han right there. And
he's got the most like evilest look, man.
He does, man. He looks like a villain.
Yeah.
Now,
breaks a board.
Have you ever done that?
What? Do a speed board? A speed break? Yes.
Not just that. I'm talking about before you competed.
No. Well, yes, I have. All right. That's not true. I do that before I compete in my forms. Yeah, but I haven't done that in fighting and been But I'll do that to get pumped up sometimes.
So, as you can see here, he's thinking about his sister, and he goes off and hits him real quick.
And that scar is from his sister, right?
Yeah. Yep. Now, they never explained how come Lee is not wearing the uniform.
I was just going to ask the same thing. Yeah, I just asked the same thing.
They mentioned it. They mentioned it to him. They said something like, "You're not in uniform." And they he just gave them a look like, whatever. I'm not wearing that. And nobody else ever said anything to him about that.
Nope. He's freaked out.
Yeah, so
he's gonna dishonor him.
So that was a nice kick. Did Bruce Lee do his own stunts? I don't know,
man. I've heard yes, I've heard no. I'm not sure about that one. He might have done everything but the backflip. Who knows?
Yeah. So when I was watching this, I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." So he's getting revenge for his sister, but he's also playing with the guy. It looks like he could have taken him out at any point. And he even tried to give this guy a pass, also, because he beat him, and the guy, O'Hara, he couldn't take it anymore, and he was getting ready to come back at Lee. And then that's when Lee had to turn around and jump and do that stomp. Because right here, he thought he was finished.
Boom. Yep. The famous Bruce Lee sidekick.
Right.
Man.
So he thinks he's done, and the guy's getting ready to jump back up and, here with the bottle.
Here we go with the bottle.
So now every time I see this part now, I can't help but think about The Last Dragon. When the guy turns around like this and walks over and jumps up and smashes the stereo that was playing,
Boom. Oh, here we go. Some noise.
Yeah, so,
roundhouse kick right to the neck.
So, I guess he was like, you know what? This guy's going to keep coming back at me. Let me go ahead and finish him and just get rid of him.
The face, man.
Yeah, that's the classic Bruce Lee face that everybody attempts to make when they want to imitate Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah. And then the double stomp is like his it's like his signature move, or his finishing move almost every movie,
Yeah, coup de grace.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And now it's become a huge wrestling move.
Right. So he ends up taking O'Hara out, and actually Han finds out that somebody has been getting out. I guess at night these guys are all supposed to go back into their bedrooms, and he sends women to them in their rooms.
Yeah, and
pretty much prostitutes.
Right, and one of them ends up being another spy and an agent, and that's who Bruce Lee is in contact with, and so she's helping him sneak out to find what's going on around there.
Right. Han finds out also that somebody has been sneaking out, and he also knows that Williams had been going out also, because I guess one of the girls must have told on him, because they told him not to leave the room.
And Williams had been training or something outside, I guess.
Yeah, he was outside training.
And then Roper was with a chick.
Yeah.
He had a lady.
Yeah. So, and Williams saw Bruce Lee, but I don't think he knew it was Lee. He just saw a figure in the shadows. Well, eventually Han, questions Williams about this, and he tells him, "I know you've been out." So Han is kind of think that they're in cahoots with each other, and they ended up killing Williams. You know, his dialogue in the movie was just awful. Of course, like all martial arts movies are going to be when they have a black guy in there, they're going to give him something corny to say. I don't know what was up with that back then.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they ended up killing this guy, and then they bring Roper in, and now with Roper, they weren't accusing him of trying to sneak around or anything. They wanted to recruit him.
Right. They wanted him to start working for.
Right.
Whatever they were doing. So again, we haven't really talked about what they were doing. Have we found out yet? Around this time, this is the time when he kind of starts showing them what's going on.
Right, yeah, but right? But they didn't really explain. When I watched it, they didn't really explain what was going on, and I just assumed, okay, this must be something to do with drugs. But they're not coming out all the way and said. If they did, I missed it. Right. And
a lot of like psychedelic type things. I mean, meth stuff. They had some people they were doing tests on. All kinds of stuff like that. And then when they show him Williams.
Yeah, Roper. I mean, Roper didn't really have a choice right here.
Right.
If I saw my friend hanging from a noose like that, I mean, you don't really have no choice but to join him and figure out how you're going to get out of it later.
Right.
Yeah, so
it's crazy.
Yeah, and then they just drop him in this water, and that's the end. That's the end of him.
Yeah,
he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so now Bruce Lee pretty much finds out what's going on, and he's pretty much determined to bring it down, the whole thing down. Now Williams ends up fighting Han, right? And he ends up taking his glove off. And this was the smallest hand I had ever seen. That was terrible editing. That was actually horrible. That was horrible. When Williams is fighting Han, I laughed because it was like a baby doll's hand.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't. I was expecting that claw because I remember the claw at the end of the movie. I remember that. So when they were fighting,
a lot of different ones, right?
Yeah, he had a lot of different.
Steel one, he had
but when he pulled out that little hand and had that on, I just lost it. I literally laughed. I had been drinking also. So I guess it was extra funny because I'd had some drink. Man. But man, that hand was just so little. I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Right.
So they eventually start fighting Han and Lee, and of course Lee beats them. The hand that Han had, this part here, when he pulls this off, like look at that hand. That's like a baby doll hand. That is like the smallest hand I have ever seen.
It's supposed to be what, like an iron type hand or something? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's horrible. They should have done better than that.
That's right.
Like that's Barbie's hand. That's Barbie's hand right there,
My God. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, they could have did better than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the cool
Han
things,
wins. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Han. One of the cool things I did like when I was younger about the hands that he had and the different claws and things. But when I saw it now, I was a little disappointed. I was like, okay, this is some bad costume work. Right. This is like something I could put together myself at Michael's or Joanne Fabrics. Just get some stuff and put it together, and it could look like that, So.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, man. I enjoyed the movie. I hadn't seen it in almost 35 years or so.
Right. What? There's some scenes for me that are just like stand out. So I'll go to an earlier one. Is when everyone's just getting to the islands their first night, and they have all the competitors sitting around, and they have these two sumo wrestlers going at it.
Yeah.
They have chickens going around. They have like gymnasts and people doing stuff in like a circus, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden Han comes in and everyone stops and everyone just freezes.
Yes.
And I'll never forget that. It's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, that was the first night.
We'll talk about this too, though. But this is some of the very beginning of the movie was where we actually got to see like Bruce Lee doing some Really,
Yeah,
it was
that.
like early MMA, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You really like
yeah,
pancreation type stuff.
yeah.
And so that was pretty cool. The guy that he was doing it with, do you know who that was?
No, I don't.
That's the why did I just lose his name? He does a lot of the stuff with Jackie Chan. He did a lot of his stunt work and stuff with him,
Okay.
and then he was also in a TV show. Oh man, it was kind of famous in the States too. But he was kind of like a fat Jackie Chan, right?
Okay.
And I can't think of his name right now for some
Was
reason.
was he a comedy karate guy?
Yes, he was comedy.
Okay. Okay.
Him and Jackie Chan were in a couple movies together, a lot of movies together.
Okay.
Yeah, this is cool. Like, so even they have the gloves like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy.
All right.
So they even have like the wrestling underwear.
They do.
Just like the King of Pancrase stuff, like that. Boss Rutan and Ken Shamrock did before UFC.
And that's how they dress. That's exactly how they dress.
Right. So this is pretty cool.
I wonder why he had no problem dressing like this for this fight, but he did not want to put on the karate gi for over at the tournament.
Hey, that's right.
All right, man. Let's wrap this part up. So, like I said, man, I enjoyed the movie, man. It was fun. I know the next time I watch a Bruce Lee movie with Mike, I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not. we'll see.
Well, you went from like the worst one to the best one,
right?
So it's
and he never saw this movie come out. He wasn't alive when this movie came out either.
Right.
So Bruce Lee never saw how successful this movie was, and I think this was his first movie that was
released in the U.S.
Yeah.
As far as so it was released in the U.S. the same time. You know what I mean? Like
okay.
Like as a big release. Like when they released it, he had just passed away.
Right.
But they sold out the Chinese theater and everything like that in Chinatown in L.A. and I mean it was huge success.
Yeah.
So I mean,
believe that.
And then after that, martial arts blew up in the United States again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was cool. I'll never forget those mirror scenes when they're fighting in that mirror room.
Yeah.
And then the way it ends with the spear and just keeps twirling after he's on it. Han's dead. So yeah, I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but you guys go and watch Enter the Dragon. It's an all-time classic.
Oh yeah. It's definitely one of those movies that you can watch and enjoy.
Yeah. Right.
and not be disappointed.
Correct.
All right, let's get into some other topics, man. Okay, Jeff.
Oh, time out. You know who else was in that movie though, too, right?
Bolo.
I mean, everyone was in this movie, man.
Yeah.
It's like the first thing for a lot of those guys, so it's pretty cool as well.
Yeah, Bolo was in it. Bolo didn't have the traditional type of role that I normally see him in. Like he was still that menacing guy that was in the background and doing stuff, but he wasn't in the movie as frequently like how he is in a lot of other movies, Right. But yeah,
Right. All right.
Let's talk about something else, man.
All right.
So I don't know a lot about you. Okay. Before March, I didn't even know you existed. Like I haven't been around the karate scene in a long time, man. Especially on the national scene. So tell me your origin story, man.
Oh God! All right, here we go. All right, so I'm from Rustburg, Virginia. I started when I was 4 years old. The reason why I started martial arts is because I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and my favorite wrestler was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And so he was from big in this area, the Mid-Atlantic area. So I'd always heard about him from my parents and from my dad, not my mom, but my dad. And I was like, all right, he goes to the ring with a karate uniform. All right, let's do it, So, yeah, so I got in that way and went through several different schools before I finally kind of got to my instructor who would lead me to my black belt. It was kind of funny over the weekend. I saw my first karate instructor. I've only seen him probably 3 times since I've been like 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
It was cool to finally see him. And what's cool is that he understands like what I've accomplished and he follows what I do. And he was like just proud of that, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, got my black belt at 9. So I was really young. And then started competing in tournaments. John Valera was my competition coach. He lived about an hour away from me, and he was part of our system, the American Freestyle system. And then, just kind of took off from there. And I started competing in NASCA from 94 till, I guess, currently, and did NBL as well. I lived in a weird area because in Virginia, where I'm at, I'm probably closer to North Carolina than I am Northern Virginia or DC. So NASCA tournaments were all like in Northern Virginia and up, and NBL and SKIL were all like below me. So I kind of hit a little bit of everything. Everything was kind of, drivable. But yeah. Okay. And then from there, I got onto Team Elite, which turned into Team CJB in 96. And, just became just the person that was at almost every tournament every weekend. So,
so you was a road warrior, huh?
Right. When I was when I was like younger, my mom even she started selling martial arts gift toys and jewelry. It was called Robin's Nest. And she would set this up at every tournament. So we would go to a tournament every weekend, sometimes 2 a weekend. She would set up to sell the stuff. I would compete. And that was how she kind of paid for me to do all this stuff. So yeah. So we knew everything we were inside of, how the tournament scene worked. So, yeah.
So let me ask you this. I know you like wrestling and I know you like karate, but what else does Jeff Doss like? Like, do you have any other hobbies or any other activities you participate in?
Golly, you sound like my girlfriend. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because karate has become, most of my life. I run a school. I do, of course, the podcast, everything that I do is karate. I ran a tournament and helped run a league for a very long time. So yeah, it was a big part. I'm really into wrestling. Wrestling's kind of the way for me to kind of get my mind off of that a little bit if I need to. And yeah, I mean, I really would like to do other things like public speaking and different things like that. But as far as for fun, yeah, I mean, it's working out. It's doing, talking about wrestling, watching stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's been tough for me because I really enjoy doing martial arts. And I think that there's so many different things. Like I could be like on a kick where I just want to work my nunchucks, and that'll be my hobby for maybe a month or two. And then I'll be on a kick where I want to work tricking. Then I'll be where I want to do, just fighting every weekend and working drill. I mean, so I think that's what's cool about martial arts is that there's something for everybody. And when you do kind of like maybe get tired of one thing, you can shift over to something else.
You really don't have to retire. I mean, I know Travis always says that he's retired from karate, but yeah, I don't really think just because you're not competing anymore, I mean, if you decided that you wanted to run a school, you can do that. Right. If you might not want to fight them, you can always go do forums. You might not be very good at it at first, especially being black belts. If you decided to now that you want to do forums, but if you want to practice at it and like you did work with a forums coach, to get better. I mean, it's most
There's
definitely
always
doable.
Ways to do it. Yeah. I mean, and I'd like to do some other hobbies, some other sports or something. I've been thinking about that. I'm also really big into bull riding. So, but
what?
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of the PBR, of the bull riding. And so that's one where if I try to get in that's a big risk to do something just for
just stay away from that. Stay away from that, man. I mean, because you just said that you have all of your professional stuff is tied up in the martial arts, and bull riding, one bad ride is going to wipe all that out.
I know. I had it set. I had a coach set up and everything, and then everything got busy with the karate school. And I was ready to start learning how to do it, but yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's always been. That's how my parents met. Was at a rodeo. My dad was a cowboy. He did wild horse racing and team roping and stuff like that. So it's just kind of I guess in my blood a little bit. So
okay.
Yeah, right. I know. I got to find another hobby though. just something.
Just might want to switch it up sometimes. I mean, I'm not forcing you to do that. I was just wondering.
I know.
It was pretty funny that you said that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was what got you into wrestling, because that's what also got me into wrestling. Also, my uncle used to try and get me to watch wrestling all the time, and I never really wanted to watch it. Here in Detroit, wrestling came on Saturdays at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And Alvin and the Chipmunks was my favorite cartoon, and they were on at 11 o'clock. So I did not want to watch wrestling. He used to always try and come on, watch wrestling, this and another. I never want to watch it. My grandmother, she watched wrestling also.
Yeah.
So she had it on. I was at her house one Saturday. Travis and I were at her house one Saturday, and she had it on, and she called me in the room to come watch it. And it was, I'll never forget it. It was the episode where Randy Savage was fighting George Animal Steel, and George Animal Steel got out the ring to follow Elizabeth, and Macho Man got upset and went out, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat came out.
Came to help.
Yeah, he came to help, and I was like, "Who's that guy?" And he had, like you said, the karate stuff, and I was like, "Oh, he's a martial artist." And then I started watching it because I wanted to see him. Right. And we saw those type of mid-carders all the time. We never really saw Hulk Hogan too often, so I never really cared about Hulk Hogan.
Correct.
Because we always saw the Intercontinental people, we always saw the tag teams, so I was always more so into them. And once I saw Ricky Steamboat, the next people was the Hart Foundation, and then that's when I got into. They were my favorite tag team.
Okay. Yeah. Mine was the British Bulldog, so it was kind of the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were fighting all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. See, where I lived though, like I was still always an NWA guy because I was a Southern kind of, Southern wrestling. So I was Rock and Roll Express and the Road Warriors and Barry Windham and we didn't get a chance to get into those guys. The only time I saw those guys was when my uncle, once again, he used to always give us the magazines because he always bought the magazines. Like Wrestling Illustrated, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and whatever wrestling magazines. Right. Yeah, he used to always get those magazines and give it to us. So that's when we would find out about Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and R. Anderson and the Road Warriors. Because, we didn't have cable. We didn't get cable till like 87, 88 time, right? And then it wasn't like now. Yeah. It wasn't like now because you got a train? You got a train by your house? The train. Yeah, I live right next to the train, to the tracks.
Oh, that gotta be, man. They don't come by in the middle of the night, do they?
Yeah, at least twice. At least twice. I've gotten used to it though. Someone asked me over the weekend. They're like, "Hey, did you feel that earthquake? That happened a few?" I was like, "No, I just thought it was the train, so I didn't even." Everyone else was calling me. "Hey, did you feel that?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" I kind of get used to it.
All right, I didn't lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was about to say.
But we were just talking about. Yeah, we were just talking about the wrestling magazine.
Oh no. So at that time, cable wasn't like how it is now. So you only had one box, and the rest of the TVs did not have cable. Right. So if my grandfather was watching TV, I was not watching TV. Correct. To be able to turn to TBS. And same at my parents' house. Saturday afternoons at 6:05, my dad was probably watching TV. Yeah. So I was not able to watch TV. That. Yeah, so I never saw any NWA stuff because I didn't see it on our normal, 247, 2050, those normal type of channels, So I didn't see the NWA until
and at that time, that was already way past when like the Sheik had his territory and stuff, right? So that wasn't even that wasn't on. You know what? I saw him wrestle. Oh yeah?
Yeah, me and Trav both saw him against Bobo Brazil.
Oh,
now they were old. They were not young.
Super old. Yeah.
They were old men, but that was another thing.
Yeah, that was the rivalry in late 60s all the way throughout the 70s.
Yeah. So once again, that was something my uncle did. He's a big wrestler guy. So he took us to see that because my uncle and my dad's best friend was a wrestler named Malcolm Monroe, and Malcolm lived at the end of my grandmother's block. So my dad grew up with him, and then over time, my uncle and Malcolm became real close friends. So my uncle would eventually start helping Malcolm book shows and things like that. So he would take us also to the different matches, and I guess one time he had Bobo. Actually, a few times he had Bobo against the Sheik on the cards. But we got to see a lot of people before they were blew up. Like we saw Edge and Christian before they were in the
Wow.
WWE. We saw
That's
them
cool.
a long time. They almost had like a little clique because one time Edge, Christian, Test, and another guy named
Rhino was around there too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was around there,
Yeah.
but he wasn't part of their clique. It was Edge, Christian, Test, and Joey Legend.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. So those four guys ran together pretty tough, and we saw them before they blew up. And there was a lot of people, and then it was people who would come in who weren't no longer in the WWE or NWA, like Abdullah the Butcher, Terry Funk, Two Cold Scorpio. We saw a lot of those guys.
Probably Jake the Snake, probably.
No, we never saw Jake. Didn't come through. No, Jake didn't come through. I actually, if they ever booked that guy, he probably wouldn't have even showed up.
It's true.
At that time in the early '90s, he was having some rough times at that time. But before we get, I got one other question about wrestling I want to get to, but let me get to something real quick before I forget. VFT Pro Point. Did you see the Pro Point event?
The Pro Point event, I just saw a couple of highlights. I did not get to watch it. I was at a martial arts banquet.
Okay.
And so and a bell test. So no, I wasn't able to see that. Heard good things. Everything I saw, like production wise, was really cool. And kind of just the same thing that they talked about on CTE was just trying to understand the scoring and just different details to make it a little bit more fan friendly,
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't get a chance to watch it either. I saw a couple things on Facebook yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. We had Sweetest Day here. Do you know what Sweetest Day is?
No.
Sweetest Day, that's a Midwest thing. So it's like Valentine's Day. It's like Valentine's Day Junior. That's basically what it is. But it's supposed to be for the men. So it's supposed to be, the girlfriends, the wives. Yeah, and you still go out on dates, this and that, just like Valentine's Day, pretty much.
Wow.
Even though it's supposed to be for the men, guys still do things for their ladies, this, that, and other. So, me and my lady, we that's right, we did see Ron Simmons and Kamala. They also came. Trav just posted that.
Wow.
So we we had a nice little Saturday afternoon. We went out to brunch and came back to the house to just kind of relax and watch some horror movies on Saturday.
Wow.
So yeah,
fun.
so I didn't get a chance to watch it. But my question is, do you think these virtual events can be the nail in the coffin for karate tournaments?
So last week, Alex and I kind of talked about this. Like, how is this going to transition over next year or whenever tournaments get back into going? How's it going to work together? How can the tournaments work together? I think Josh said something about maybe working with some of the NASCAR tournaments to, qualify like a winner to make the spots in their tournaments. That would be a good way to work together. The other thing I'm talking about, though, would be like for a regional event or even a tournament that has a finals or something, is like if you're going to do, almost like closed circuit television, like have a screen or whatever at your area, at your tournament, or even just the hotel, and sell, do a deal with them to where they buy it with your code, that you went to that tournament, they get a discount or you get some kickback. There's all kinds of ways to do something like that. I think the more they work together, the better it's going to be, but I don't think that it's going to hurt tournaments because it's just a small portion of people. I think in some ways, if the tournaments do this right, it could actually help tournaments because they have something to go after and go towards, now. Instead of just, hey, he won that tournament, that's great. Now what? All right, I'll see him next weekend. No, you're on a big platform. At least that's what they're trying to make, So I don't know.
What about, do you think this could potentially hurt the smaller tournaments? I don't think tournaments like AKAs or Battle of Atlanta, the bigger tournaments, I don't think those will have an issue. But
I don't think so. I think it would hurt them more than it would hurt the smaller ones, because the smaller ones they're not even watching this.
No, I understand that. But what I'm talking about is as far as, okay, so say I'm a promoter, and with these different type of virtual events, I could possibly get some decent sponsorship monies. Why should I throw a normal karate tournament and rent out a gym from 8 in the morning till 6 in the evening and sit in a gym all day when I could just throw a virtual event? And
okay, so we're talking about virtual events, or are we talking about like what these guys are doing? Because this is different than a virtual event.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, when I'm talking about a virtual event, I'm really talking like a virtual forms tournament that they've been doing for now. I think those are going to stick around because they are an easy way to have people do stuff without renting it out, you know? And I think you will see some, but I think you see some people do an in-house, like a live tournament and a virtual tournament in the same year, maybe more, maybe 2 or 3.
So I'm thinking of like this. Like I've never thrown my own tournament, but if I did throw a tournament, I think I probably would go figure out a way to do it virtually, some type of virtual event where it's like what you're saying, the virtual forms. But if I wanted to do fighting, I would try and keep it a situation where it's not going to be an all day event.
Right. The problem with that is that if you're going to rent out a place, they're going to make you rent it out for the whole day anyway. Most places are. Now, some they're not. So by the time that happens, a lot of people are just kind of like, we might as well just have a full regular karate tournament. As far as I think for smaller events, I don't think for a local tournament, there's not many adult black belts that come and compete. So,
exactly.
So it's not really like the kids aren't going to do that. The parents don't understand. They're not at that point yet. You're trying to get beginners and underbelts to come to your event then you could show them. That's why I think you could have that. And then that evening be like, hey, check out this live event that's going to be here. We're going to meet at this place to all watch together. Or you can use this code to do this. And what that does, that makes them, okay, so if I keep going to these tournaments, I can get to this level. I think what it's doing is going to help them find the next step, which right now we don't have that next step unless you move to MMA or kickboxing or maybe karate combat, if that gets big, so I think for me, this actually makes it better. I'm interested to see how the Forms Tour goes. It's very similar to how the MA live battles are doing, but those are mostly like tricking style, and they're short kind of burst. It's more like a dance battle or like a tricking battle instead of like a form, which in this they're going to do a full form, and then this person does a full form, and that one does a full form. Then they go do another round. So it's going to be different. So I'm interested to see how that's going to be. I'm excited to commentate for it. So I just think it'll help. I think it gives people, even a smaller event, like something else to bring people into their event. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting. The next 2 to 5 years is definitely going to be interesting on the tournament scene, and especially these virtual events are only going to get better and better and better. The production, the video quality, the commentating, all of that is going to eventually just get better and better.
I don't call them virtual. I call them more like pay-per-view events. You know what I mean? That's just, for me, that's kind of what I think. So when I think virtual, I think of like there's no contact whatsoever.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I mean, I know it's called Virtual Fight Tour and stuff, but for me, it's a pay-per-view style, show.
Well, that's what I was meaning.
Yeah,
that's what I was meaning.
Yeah.
Because like, man, I don't know, man. I'm kind of speaking from around here in Michigan also. I don't know how it is where you're at, but the tournaments now are not really the same as how they were when I was a kid.
No, not at all. Not at all. But again, I just don't see anyone wanting to watch the current people that are going to some of these events and pay for it to watch it. You know what I'm saying?
No, you most definitely got to have star quality. You got to have star quality.
I don't think everyone has the production or even the know-how to do that. I think there's some people that put it a lot, but I'm just going to tell you, for me to put my finals on, I mean, that was over $10,000 just to put my finals on for my tournament every year. So not everybody is going to stop doing a local tournament that costs them maybe $2,000 to $3,000 at most to put on to do that and just hope that people are going to pay for it. You know what I mean? And especially right now, you're not charging that much. When you're talking about a competitor at first, they're paying $65 to $100, and now you are doing a pay-per-view event when they're paying $25 to watch it. Spectators.
But I'm constantly thinking also about sponsorships. Also, that's what I'm constantly thinking, because that's money. And if your first event you get, say 200 people, the next event you get 500. Right. As you go farther and farther, and you brand yourself, and you get more and more popular doing these pay-per-view events, you are going to be able to get some decent money in sponsorship. I think, depending on how you do it, as far as if you're smart with your branding. USA Sport Karate events have been experimenting in combining both virtual and live.
Yes, they have. Yeah, and it's worked out too. So I mean, I think it just depends. I don't want to see everybody though trying this, because then it just waters it down.
Oh no, yeah.
I think there needs to be. I think there needs to be these two. I'm sure someone else would do it. I know that some are going to try to do. So like, there's an event in Disney that they usually have it in Disney, and that's one of the events that Drew was talking about. They are doing the Forms tournament virtual only, and then they're doing live. Like, it's video submission, and then the top 4 move on, and they do like a Zoom tournament, right? But that evening, they're going to have an actual double elimination fighting event for like adult black belts or something, and then have a big prize, and they're going to video it and show it live on Facebook or whatever. So that's pretty cool, So it's like a combining everything. So, okay. I think it just, everybody just got to get creative,
Yeah, it's only going to help everybody in the long run, the whole sport,
Right.
So,
right.
Last thing I want to talk about, man, I want to talk about some wrestling real quick.
All right.
What do you think of your boy Roman Reigns turning heel?
He says he's not a heel. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, he said the other day, am I really a heel?
That type of stuff. I would prefer if wrestlers kind of stayed in their character,
Yeah. I like it. I think it's the edge that he needs. I think he needed a change. I think if they would have made, because when he came in as the Shield, he was that guy. He was the bad, that was just whooping everyone, didn't have to say anything, and now like he's like that, and they did the right thing by putting his first big storyline with someone who's related to him. It made perfect sense, because it just showed that, hey, I'm taking this seriously. I'm, the big dog, wherever. This is my yard. I'm the chief. And I think it's pretty cool. I like it. I wish they would have done this a while ago. It's also pretty cool that they have one of the best talkers with him, and he's not even having to talk. I mean, this is honestly Roman's best promo work in a long time.
I bet Paul Heyman is writing this for him. He has to be, because this is something different. Right. But I think the whole thing is going to be a build up to him against The Rock at WrestleMania, and that's going to be big. That's going to be big money for WWE.
It's just hard to see like how that's going to work with. I mean, you're going to bring The Rock there to lose to Roman Reigns. I don't know, man.
I think he would. I mean, they're quote unquote family.
But again, I don't like WrestleMania to end with a heel winning. I just don't.
Well, you have to.
But what I think is that this happens, and then they end up with a show of respect that, all right, you earn my respect, and maybe it kind of turns, and maybe he goes away.
Well, if that's the case, if they do that, then I would prefer they wait 2 years. Let him be a heel for a little bit longer.
That's what I think too.
Before they do that.
Correct.
But, as long as you let, I know The Rock is a busy guy, and I think as long as you let him know in advance what they're working toward, that he can put that time set aside, because Hollywood doesn't really like him wrestling, and now he's older now, he's almost 50 now, he is he only
has 1 or 2 matches.
So he's gonna be done pretty soon. I think that'll be it. I mean, he will have to lose. Like nobody goes out on top. Nobody goes out on top, so he'll have to lose. But I like what they're doing with him. He actually sent a friend of mine son a message. A friend of mine's son is he has cancer. It's a little boy. He has cancer, and I think they were trying to do a Make-A-Wish for him, and they weren't able to do it. So he sent a video message. I'll text it to you and send it to you.
Yeah.
And he sent him a message, and it wasn't a generic message. It was personal.
Right.
It was a personal message, and he was telling
That's
the kid,
cool.
keep fighting. Hope you get better. Don't worry. We want to make sure that we get you to an event so you can come backstage. You can meet all of the wrestlers. You can meet me. We're gonna hang out. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. I sent my man a message like, man, see, now I gotta like the guy.
Yeah,
because this message was real sweet that he sent to to his son. So.
And that's why I think he kind of want to make it like, hey, listen, yes, I'm a heel, but it's because I'm taking what I do really serious. That way he can still do those types of things, the Make-A-Wish things and stuff too. It's just like, hey, I'm good to you guys. But just don't get in front of me in the ring or I'll mess you up, I mean, kind of like with Goldberg. No one wants to mess with Goldberg back in the day,
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
I think Bret Hart still has some issues with Goldberg.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what I'm gonna do. I don't know what Mike's schedule is like, so I don't know if Mike is gonna be back next week or not. But what I'm gonna do, my next movie that I'm gonna watch is Sidekicks.
Oh, all right.
I'm gonna watch Sidekicks.
This is kind of fitting too, because this weekend is the virtual fight tour in Texas, right?
Uh-huh.
And this whole that whole movie was made in Texas.
Oh wow!
It was filmed at a big event. Used to be called Karate Olympics, and that was at a tournament in Texas. And you'll see a lot of Texas competitors and instructors and stuff there. The guy that is Wayne Wynn, who's the White Ninja.
Uh-huh.
He's a big Texas legend. He's taught most of the people nunchuck in that state. So yeah. And he runs.
So he was the guy that ended up doing that form with the nunchucks.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's all kinds of people. There's Richard Dixon, Daniel Dixon's dad that's in that movie. There's all kinds of people in that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I've seen this. I haven't seen it in a long time. I saw it when it first came out as a kid, sometime in the early 90s. And this is one of the only Chuck Norris movies I've ever watched, and I really don't even consider the Chuck Norris movie.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. You're right. It's just more like a highlight of all of his movies.
Yeah,
flashback scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So sooner or later, me and Mike got to watch a Chuck Norris movie because I really don't know what all the hype is about with Chuck Norris.
The ones that are all right are his, like the military ones. Some of those are pretty cool. Was it like Delta Force and those are all right. There's one with Bill Wallace in it. That may be interesting to watch. I had that one as a kid too.
So if you have never seen the movie Sidekicks before, I want you to know right now it's very cheesy.
Yep.
It's not going to be full of action. It's going to be goofy. It's going to be. I mean, you got Joe Piscopo in the movie. It's the bad guy, the main bad guy. So this is like. I don't know. It's like somebody took the Karate Kid and kind of remixed it, and they didn't want to bite off of the Karate Kid 100%. Right.
Kim Do was in it. Yeah, Kim Do was in the movie. There's some other ones that are even in the background.
Yeah. So
Chris Minshew. Yeah.
It's a fun movie, and I think I'll be able to watch this and enjoy it and take my notes. I'm not sure who's going to be on with me next week to talk about the movie, so I'm just letting everybody know now I'm going to watch Sidekicks. And if you're going to be on, then make sure you guys watch it also, so you can come on and be my co-host.
There we go.
Help me out.
Man.
You got anything else, Jeff?
No, man, this was fun, and guys, go check out the movie Sidekicks. Also check out virtual fight tour this weekend. Houston. It's going to be a lot of fun, or Texas, sorry. And lots of,
Yeah, I'll be watching. I'll be watching it this weekend, Saturday.
Yeah,
6 o'clock.
Saturday,
6 o'clock, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I like that time too. That time works.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That time is most definitely perfect. Well, was Pro Point on at 6 o'clock also? Or
they're at 7. They're
at 7. That's still not bad. That's still not bad.
And their first one they did on Friday, it went really fast. It was done in like 35 minutes or something like that. So
I was about to wrap up until you said that. So I didn't know what happened on Friday. I saw you guys talking in our chat group. So
right.
So what was going on Friday?
That was like the wild card. So the people that have like qualified by going to certain events, like the winners of the different divisions at Battle of Atlanta and some of the other local events, and some of the other people that maybe are there but not right there at the top tier, they were fighting. So there was 8 people fighting to win a spot in the tournament the next day. So there's 7 seeded fighters, and then the winner of the wild card was up there. And so John Cortolo won. John Cortolo is a great fighter. He could have been in that seeded one anyway. Like he's a top level fighter, and so he won that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the winner of the whole thing was Bailey Murphy. So
okay. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. And I picked that one. So again, I beat Alex.
All right. So make sure you guys check out Sidekicks. Make sure you watch VFT 3, Texas.
Yes. And check out Inside Scoop tomorrow night. So
that's right.
We'll be on tomorrow night. We have Rudy Rain on. We have an interview. Yeah, we have Rudy Rain on tomorrow night. He tours the world doing tricks with Justin Bieber. He has been a world champion martial artist, and he just released his first EP last month. So he is a music producer and rapper. So so it's going to be cool. We both have the same sport karate coach, John Valera. So it's going to be cool. Paul Mitchell, all that. So Yep.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up, guys. So from everyone here, the Martial Arts Internet Network, Flixx and Flixx, the Inside Scoop, CTE. We will see you guys next week. Stay safe, stay strong, and we'll holler at you later. Peace.
Disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.